What is up, maniacs? Welcome back to Sound and Pound. It is August 13th, 2024. We are here, as always, Drake, Riggs, and Alex being here to bring you the latest and greatest in the world of mixed martial arts, the wacky and weird, the wild nonsense, anything you can think of. Everything in between, inside the MMA world, outside in the movie theater, you name it, we get to it. This week, of course, we will be sort of recapping UFC Vegas 95. If there's any bits, we can skip over that. It's UFC 305 fight week, you guys. Let's get excited for that. The middleweight title is on the line. We got some bangers on that card that we will get into, which is going to be fun and exciting. But yeah, other than that, we keep on plugging along. Alex, how's it going?
Yeah, bro. We survived last week. I don't know how, when, why. But yeah, UFC 305. At least it's a decent card, you know?
That's all we can ask for. Good energy from Australia. I think that's always safe to assume. We can look forward to a crowd. That's like when I'm clinging on to crowd events, that's kind of, the state of things.
Yeah, 1,000%.
But of course, you guys don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Whatever you're watching on, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, we're on everything. Of course, subscribe to the newsletter on the website itself. So don't forget to chime in with your comments, questions, concerns throughout the show. We will get to them. The ones that are less timely for what we're talking about, we will get to for the end of the show Q&A after the movie club. So don't worry about that. But let's kick things off with Maniacal Moment of the Week, which, Alex, I don't know if I have one. This week. Do you have anything of note from anything that happened this past week?
No, bro. It was UFC 95. I think it's safe to say it's the worst Apex event of all time. I think it is. It was between this Norma Dumont versus Aspen Ladd or Tyra versus Perez, and I think if you really look at all three of them, this is the worst one. So I'm saying it in stone. Worst Apex event of all time.
So that's the maniacal moment. Is that it was that bad?
1,000%. It's the worst. I don't want to talk about it. I do like James's comment. I want to talk about the Craig Jones Invitational as a future maniacal moment. I'm down for that. But yeah, UFC Vegas 95 is dog shit, dude. Dog shit. I was like, dude, I was there watching.
I want to leave.
I was there cage side watching free fights the entire night, and I was like, what am I doing here? You know,
questioning yourself.
Bad. It was just bad.
Jeez, yeah, that is pretty rough. It was a tough time out there for sure. It's bad when even the main event ended unexpectedly. I didn't think it would be that quick or anything, but still doesn't really mean anything at all.
Yeah, so bad, dude. I mean, we can bring up his Chelsea Chandler was just completely unprofessional. Misses weight, doesn't shake hands, doesn't apologize, and then loses, and then doesn't shake her hand. It just acts like a complete tool. And somehow she's still ranked. Dude, go back to you. Don't even deserve to go to Invicta, dude. Go back to fucking Island Fights 95 or some shit, bro. Get out of
here. Yeah. I'm just gonna assume she's still ranked just because of a lack of bodies. But if she holds on to a roster spot much longer, that might be a little surprising. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think maybe we should just blend underrated and maniacal into one this week because, again, I usually have notes, you guys, for our show segments here, my choices for these. I didn't put anything this week because I was I hate to say this, but I'm being honest with you. The really only standout to me was Carol Hossa continued to look pretty great. That was
1,000%. No, I was bringing that up. You were the one. I thought that fight was just kind of sucking. Carol Hossa is just, dude, she's becoming a very, 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 very fun fighter to watch, which is kind of crazy because she had some pretty kind of boring fights, and she's something's clicked.
She was fighting very smart early on in the UFC, and it was working, getting her wins, but now she's kind of developed that high fight IQ with entertainment, right? So it's looking really good. And Panty, holy shit, so fucking tough for that fight. I mean, kills me as someone fond of Panty, but yeah, she gotta go back to the drawing board for sure. I mean, I don't know how much she has left in her. Honestly, she's taken a beating over the years, so we will see. But that's really it for me. I mean, honestly, though, the Kazama victory was pretty wild. That second round was crazy. So I'll give a shout to that. A little bit of a small comeback there, but other than that,
two not even PFL fighters fighting in the UFC. Woohoo!
All right,
raise the roof. Raise
the roof, partner. All right, let's get out of the comments. We should move on. Rio says, maniacal moment. Are the fans who defended the Apex slop after Ghost posted the McMahon tweet now? I have a genuine question. Yeah, people were actually defending this card. We all want the sport of MMA to improve as a whole. Do you feel like it's valid to call out the UFC when they put on bad cards? 100%. Because we know they have the fighters to do it. If more MMA fans promote, and justify what we just experienced Saturday, that's going to lead to more of the same product. Yeah. No, I mean, dude, we've been saying this since this show started, Alex, right? Like, stop watching if you want it to get better. Like, the problem is people are conditioned to just continue to watch because the UFC with the ESPN deal, which is, coming up soon, we'll see what, if anything, changes there. I'm not going to hold my breath until we see it, but they haven't had to bring in numbers, since this whole ESPN thing happened.
There was a big portion of the fan base that are just so blinded by the UFC and ride Dana's dick so much that the UFC could come out and put a tweet said MMA fans are the fucking worst. And they'd be like, yep. The fans would be like, well, no, they mean, they mean the casual fan, no, they don't mean us, It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of here, bro.
Just, touch grass, bro.
Hey, I'm one of the biggest UFC shields there is, dude, and I can even admit the product is shit right now, dude. It's at a low point.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. Like, again, I just always reflect on those glory days of like 2013 and how great the early 2010s.
I don't know where I said this, but like honestly, it feels like UFC feels like the WWE in like 2000.
Yeah, I think you said that in
2017, 2018. I mean, maybe before that, and then AEW came out, right? And then they're like, all right.
Yeah, 2019 WWE was awful.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Terrible.
And then some competition came in, and then they raised their stakes. The UFC needs some competition, and PFL is not it, dude. It's not it. It's never going to be it. It's not it.
Like, yeah, no, even the problem with they're doing something right, with these big upcoming title fights that we got announced, last week, right? Ngannou versus Pereira and Cyborg versus Pacheco, which we've been anticipating. The surprises to us. And then we got McKee and Hughes targeted day, which I actually don't like that really at all. Kind of ridiculous, actually, but should be fun. I guess it should be fun. Either way, the point with those two title fights, Alex, is like these are all, except for Pacheco, all three of those fighters are older. Like, we don't have much Cyborg and Ngannou left. These are not superstars you're building, the brand around. Like, for example, you had your AEW comparison there. They had 4 guys out the gate that they had ready to go that were like, holy shit. They're like 23, 24-ish. They're already super talented, going to be around for a while. These are the guys you are investing in. You can't do that when there's near 40-year-olds. So until PFL gets people like that, they have Dakota. That's their hope right now. Outside of that, McKee's going to get out as soon as he can. Hughes, you're hoping that he takes him out in this fight. Like, there's a lot of gambling the PFL is doing.
When Contender Series is better than the PFL, you have a fucking problem. Like, you have a problem.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Yeah, Rainy.
When the second best promotion in all of MMA
Contender Series.
Contender Series. Here's a problem.
I'm not going that far, guys. Don't crucify me. Alex said that. That wasn't me.
When Ryzen, the second best promotion, puts on events once every 7 months. There's a problem.
It's about 2 months, all right?
Yeah, whatever, dude. It feels like 7 months.
Yeah, it does, but they're big. That's what we like. We are not oversaturated on our Ryzen. Ray Neal says, I see none of my favorite content creators talking about that card. Does that hurt or help the UFC? I don't think it hurts them at all. They're pretty bulletproof at this point, as we've seen. So it would take a
UFC
pretty
or eyeballs. Eyeballs is the only thing that hurts the UFC.
Yeah, once like pay-per-views start tanking seriously, which we have no idea what the numbers are anymore. I mean, maybe rough guesses from certain sources, but even then it's pretty sketchy. They're fine. There is nothing to worry about. And they got Saudi money now, so whoop-de-doo. As long as I got that, all good. Yes, Rio, you're totally right. I phoned it in. I did phone it in. If there was any time to do it. Oh, man.
Yeah. All right.
My
Fuck
goodness.
this, bro. Let's just go to UFC 305.
Yeah, let's move on to the Mania main line, you guys. UFC 305 fight week, mercifully saving us here because we can at least, I feel pretty confident saying we're going to get some great action, at least at a couple of these. So, Alex, for the Mania main line, which ones are you most looking forward to outside, of course, of the main event, which we will touch on in its entirety, but what tickles the fancy this week?
Yeah, so it's like I'm trying to be positive, right? Like this card is like it's fun, but like
I like the main card a lot.
Yeah, you're coming for the main card. Like that's what's selling it. That's what's selling this card. And with that being said, I mean, I think it's Carlos Prates versus Leach. I think that's probably kicking off the main card for a reason. And I mean, I think this is like a do or die fight for Tai Tuivasa. I highly doubt the UFC will cut him just because of how fun he is and the personality. But like, if he goes out there and gets starched again, like what do you do with him, right? Like, to be fair, he's fought very, very good fighters. He hasn't lost to like a scrub in a minute, but like, you know, he's on a bit of a losing streak. So I'm very invested in that fight just to see what happens with Tai Tuivasa. You know, I think he can win, but it's dangerous. And the co-main event's very it should be fun. And then I got to throw my girl Casey O'Neill. Hopefully she gets back on track against Luana Santos.
Yeah, that will be a tough one for her, but looking forward to that one too. Yeah, I think you touched on kind of the big ones I was looking at there. Getting Leach back after an almost 2-year absence since getting robbed against Daniel Rodriguez, one of the worst robberies of honestly the past 5 years. That was kind of a crazy one. So good to see him back. Looking forward to that one indeed. And then you didn't mention Gamrot Hooker. Save that one for me, I'm sure, but I'm looking forward to it.
Don't give a fuck.
All right. He expects Gamrot to dominate, I'm assuming, which is very possible. And I mean, honestly, how it should play out. But I'm more excited as the factor of Dan surprising us, maybe, or, you know, he's Dan Hooker, you know? So I'm holding out hope for some madness there. And I mean, hey, listen, Alex, we've seen Gamrot get chin checked a couple times, not knocked out, but he's been caught. He's been caught in his fights. He recovers well, but he's definitely the more superior fighter in terms of practically everything. So
I love your optimism, my friend. I do.
I try. I'm sure he's a pretty big underdog too. I don't have the odds up here, but I would not be surprised if Dan Hooker's fighting against the odds makers as well. But I'm excited to see that one, and I do like Gamrot just in general, both of those guys. But yeah, you said the co-main event. KKF and Steve Erceg, Astro Boy looking to rebound. That'll be very fun. That's a tricky one to call. I mean, I guess to get into prediction talk, Alex, how are you kind of feeling about that one? I feel like, again, there's still a lot left to be desired with Steve Erceg, but coming off of a great performance against a champion, even in defeat, in most people's minds, we talked about it after the fight, lost himself the fight by poor fight IQ and experience type of methods late in the fight, but then goes against a guy in Kai Kara-France who has clearly fought better, superior competition, been around longer, all these kind of aspects to it. So it is really an interesting one, but less wear and tear on the tires, if you will. It's a really tricky one, but my lean here before we get more into it is Steve, just because of I don't know, the youth and what he's shown so far.
I think the only way Kai Car France wins is if he knocks Steve Erstig out. Other than that, I
Hmm.
think Steve has him covered everywhere and is just the better fighter.
Yeah. I tend to agree for the most part too. Kai Kara-France, of course, a great striker in the flyweight division. He's got some great wins under his belt. But yeah, like I said, he's been around for a while, and we've seen him finish before. And Steve, he's got knockout power at flyweight, and again, can mix it up brilliantly. And I'm sure he's also learned a lot, taken away a lot from the Pantoja fight. So this will be a big one.
Dude, when you almost beat Pantoja, like you're this close, like I mean, in what is like his fourth UFC fight, like, dude, man, he's special. He's special, and anyone who's watched him for a long time knows he's a great fighter. So I think he's going to show out again, and he's in his hometown. So
doesn't hurt at all. Synchro asking, do you think UFC 305 is good for only the top 3 fights? Why do they keep putting heavyweights on the main card and not 135 or 125? How do they expect people to be invested in those divisions? I mean, they got a hard on for the heavyweights. They always have. We've known this no matter what card it is. Ridiculous card placement with heavyweight fights at times, but the top 3 fights are definitely the best ones. But like you said, or like we touched on, Leach and Prochess is one we're looking forward to. So you could flip those with the heavyweights for sure. And I'd say the top 4 is 100% what I'm most interested in. Alex said Casey O'Neill, Luana Santos. Also looking forward to that one. Tom Nolan is back. Give a shout out to him. Didn't mention him.
Talking about and he's fighting Alex Reyes, who's gotten brutally knocked down his last 2 fights. Like,
yeah.
Dude, the UFC is like, here you go, Tom. Get another highlight reel. Knockout. There you go, bro.
Yeah, there you go, bud. So, for the most part, I do kind of agree, though, Synchro. And as for the lighter weights, yeah, they've always had a thing for heavyweights, and the casual loves the big guys, whatever. So, Jin says, is Gamrot's career very weird? He seems to be able to be in a close fight with everyone except Guram. I mean, that was a close fight, though. So I don't know what you mean. Should have left that one out. But his career is pretty weird. Yeah, he was a dominant force as a KSW champ. Came in a lot of hype, and has some good wins. But yeah, they're a lot of them have been. Let me look at his actual record here and see which has been the least close of his wins in the UFC. Because now that you say that. Finished CDF, so that was a good one. Jeremy Stevens, obviously, Holtzman. So like his first 3, and first 3 of the 4, because he had the Guram one, which was split. That was, arguably won that one. And then the Armin fight, I know that was very close. A lot of people.
Unfortunately, if he had a more exciting style, he'd probably already be fighting for the title, or already have been. But he doesn't like his style.
Yeah, technically speaking, though, like he could. It'd be interesting. I don't think he'd win against Makhachev right now, but yeah. It's been interesting with him for sure. As he says, I believe Gamrot might be able to go to a close fight with Habib, but also Broomstick. Not sure about that. Not going to go that far. People don't go to close fights with Habib. All right. Well, let's talk about the main event now, Alex. We're finally getting it in the most roundabout way ever. Crazy how this sport will work sometimes, but Israel Adesanya is back, going for history, trying to become a 3-time UFC champion. Would only be the second one to do so, alongside Randy Couture, as he takes on the now champion Dricus du Plessis in his very first title defense.
Let me jump in here, because I don't really have like a technical breakdown, and I just kind of see it as this. I think a fully healthy, physical healthy, mentally healthy Israel Adesanya beats DDP 99 times out of 100. And I'm very, very confident about that. Is this going to be the one time he loses to DDP? Who knows? But I think him taking time away, him finding love in the sport again, him putting on size, there is bad blood. He does not like DDP. I think all of that's going to like come together, and I don't know if he's going to finish DDP. I don't know if he's going to blow out, but I'm confident he's going to beat DDP, and I think he'd beat him 99 times out of 100 times. Like, it's just what it is.
So it's kind of funny because somebody asked me about this yesterday on Twitter. Because the morning report, I think it was something about those two. But they asked if the beef or the personal nature, if Dricus is like under his skin and that's going to be a problem or whatever. And like, well, you look at the most personal kind of beef or anything Adesanya has had so far in his MMA career has really been Pereira, and that was more of just like he didn't like him because he lost to him kind of thing. He was just motivated by that part of it because it wasn't like a big trash talk rivalry or anything like that, mostly off of the competitive nature. And then, they've had their little things here and there, but worked out pretty good for him for the most part, even though he got finished in the first MMA fight. He was winning the whole thing. And then, of course, did what he did in the rematch. So, like, it's worked out for him. If you get more of a dangerous Adesanya, I think also when he's that determined. Costa, I mean, one of the best title defense performances of all time. Like, when he is highly motivated for fights, it's been bad. It's been pretty bad for his opponents. And so I expect, I like the thought that you're going out here with, because I do agree stylistically and with the outside factors here, it really favors him to shine in a matchup like this. And even you go back to the first Whitaker fight where there was none of that there. It was all a respecting, but he was motivated to become the undisputed champ. Again, goes out, shows up like crazy. History on the line here, like I said, to become a 3-time champ. Like, everything is really in his favor, I think. But yeah, even where the fight is happening. Like, I think Duplessis, again, he's become one of those guys, Alex, who, like Volkanovski on his come up, maybe Brian Ortega to an extent until he started, losing, but where keep underestimating the guy, and I got to stop. I don't know if we're at that point yet. I don't think we are, but have been underestimating him for sure. And the secret in the back pocket kind of thing for him is his grappling, which he's gonna need to utilize in this fight. And I think, similar to what we just saw from Bilal and Leon, try and replicate something like that. Do your best to really mix up his striking and grappling, which I don't think he's done to quite an effect like Bilal did against Leon in the rematch so far in his career. But if he can keep Adesanya worrying about that takedown threat, which he is a lot better at than people give him credit for, just because he's so fucking weird, right, as a striker. But he's going to have to disrupt Adesanya's timing. Otherwise, he's getting just picked apart,
To be fair, who's done that against Israel Adesanya, though?
Exactly. We all say that's what you should do. Like, Cannonier is the one I remember, and that fight was just so miserable to watch being there live.
Like, Mark McCrory did it a little bit, but, like, not really, like it. I see your point, and I agree. Like, that's probably the path that DDP's gonna have to take. Obviously, he has the power to put Izzy down, but, like, I don't know. And it's crazy. Like, and it's crazy. I've picked against DDP his entire UFC career, except I think for his first 2 UFC fights. Other than that, I picked against him in every single fight. So
that's what I'm saying.
So he shut me up every single time. So, like, but I'm doing it again. I don't care, bro. Fuck it.
Would this be your decider if he pulls it off? Then you'd be like, all right, I'll believe in him.
Oh yeah, 1,000. If he goes out there and beats Izzy, then yeah, 1,000%. I'll be on the DDP train. I'll be like, all right.
Yeah. I think that if Adesanya, like, all the years of combat sports have caught up with him, that will be a kind of decider that's gonna, make me less confident in him. But I don't think we're quite there yet. I just think everyone points that out, maybe as a possibility from the Strickland loss, but I think that was just Strickland best night, and really, we saw how it went. We decided that's just how that fight went. So I'm taking Adesanya as well. I think there's going to be a lot of upset fans, a lot of salty fans, probably either direction here, but I'm going to say maybe like 3rd round TKO. I think he'll probably put him away. It'll be a pretty solid performance from Adesanya for the most part. But I expect DDP to surprise us with a takedown early on, have some success there, and scare him maybe like the Till fight or something like that. But yeah, that's my official pick. How about you?
I'm going. I'm like kind of going back. Like if he's gonna finish him like late, maybe late 3, early 4. But I think I'm just gonna be safe. I'm gonna go Izzy unanimous decision.
Okay. We appreciate it either way. As Ghost says, DDP winning would be hilarious. I've said this before. Mechanically, he's hideous. Tactically, he's brilliant. But I'm here for the laughs and a good time. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good way to summarize it. Hot take, though. DDP to win, he cannot close distance quickly. He must instead slowly chew up space and lead him to the fence like Prairie did against him. Yeah, I mean, worked in that case. As in, make Izzy work at a higher pace than usual. He might get hit, but he will make Izzy uncomfortable. Yeah, he's definitely gonna get hit in that one. We will see. If Adesanya becomes a 3-time UFC champion, how does that reflect on his legacy? Oh, good question. What'll that do for you, Alex, if he does pull this off?
I mean, I think it's more good than bad. Like I mean, he comes in his class of his own, right? And it just shows that like, yeah, he can be beat, but then he can become champion again. Like I think that's kind of like the narrative I see of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever you can 3 separate occasions, even though it's a very close window, and I don't think this is going to be as impressive as if like 2 years from now or something, but it's still a great accomplishment to have. So there you have it, you guys. So, all right, that will wrap up the Mania main line, and we will now move on to a new 10-week segment we're going to do, Alex. And I came up with the name last night, and best I got, we can change it throughout. But for our Contender Series preview segment, we have contractual obligations, my guy. We need some love there for me with that one.
Bravo, bro. Bravo.
We will preview tonight's Contender Series in the everybody's favorite Apex. We got some fights happening.
That was good.
Thank you. I think it's fitting for everything considered. But this will mainly be Alex giving us the rundown as he's he's talked to some of these guys ahead of time. So what exactly should we be looking out for tonight?
So first and foremost, obviously Dana White has set a precedent that you win, you're most likely getting a contract. I fucking pray to the MMA gods that he goes back on that, goes back to the first few seasons and is very picky. If it's women's divisions, if it's heavyweights, if it's light heavyweights, all right, you can sign them. But like the smaller weight classes, bro, there's a lot of fighters. And so with that being said, this week is a fantastic fight card. There's a lot of very good fighters. Main event, Mansour Abdul Malik. This dude is a freak athlete, and I first found out about him. Like I was just at Extreme Couture watching sparring, and I looked at that dude. I was like, who the fuck is that? And I went up to Eric Nixig. I was like, dude, who is that? And he's like, it's our little secret project that we're working on. And so I was like, oh wow, that's kind of scary. Then he went back to Florida for a little bit to MMA Masters, and then something went down over there. Then he came back to Extreme Couture, and now he lives in Vegas, trains in Vegas, came to Vegas for Eric Nixig. So I think with the one big question and concern is he's never been out of the first round. So and the guy he's fighting has a very good gas tank, and he can wrestle and stuff. So it could be tricky of what happens if he doesn't finish him in the first round. But this dude hits hard, has good wrestling. He's just nasty, and like I said, he's a freak athlete. And with him being with Eric Nixig, I think Eric's got him ready to go. So I think Mansour is going to knock this dude out in the first round, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh my God, there's a new middleweight prospect that everyone needs to watch." Ming Ding, short notice. I've heard that this dude is legit, and I've heard from his coaches and some teammates like this dude is legit, and the Chinese regional scene is dog shit, and he has a lot of wins on there. Has some losses on there, so it's like who really knows until we see him. But I predict he's going to knock this dude out really good. I think Bruno Lopez is going to. He's returning from last season. I think he's going to get a first round knockout. Jose Delgado versus Ernie Juarez. This is the fight that I don't know. I'm very familiar with Jose Delgado. He trains out of the lab with all the rest of those killers over there. I'm not that familiar with Ernie Juarez. I just know that he comes from A1. He was a champion. So I'm leaning Jose Delgado, but I've seen some people pick Ernie. So that one I'm just gonna have nothing invested. I'm just gonna watch. But the first fight of the night, Loner Kavanaugh versus Anho. This fight should both. This could easily be on UFC 305, like the prelims. Like this is a UFC caliber fight. Sucks that one of these guys is going to lose and not get a contract and have to go back to the regional scene.
Right.
Because these guys are so good. They're so technical, so fast. Anho has some of the nastiest viral knockouts you've ever seen. Kavanaugh is he's good, man. And I don't know. This one to me is like a coin flip. I've seen a lot of people go both ways. So I'm not really giving a pick. Obviously I'm closer with Anho, but may the best man win, bro. It's a fantastic fight, and if this is the caliber of fight that's kicking off this season, we might be in for a treat. But
right.
It all really depends on if fucking Dana White gives us 77 contracts,
As a shout outs to our guy Florence Freedom says, I really hope we ditch the Oprah contract styling of recent seasons. Yeah, that would be nice, but we'll see tonight. We'll find out tonight. Yes, and shameless plug, you guys, but Alex did speak to Anho and then Mansour in the Mansour, excuse me. So we got these interviews on the channel here. Check them out after the show here today. And for all 500 of you guys watching right now, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live on the channel here. Follow along with the newsletter on mmania.com. And yeah, we appreciate you so much. And we appreciate Alvin coming back after a weeks away. Greetings. I just want to say hello and hope everyone is doing well. We are not here on this earth for a long time, but we must cherish every moment with the people we love. Absolutely, Alvin. Great to have you back. Hope you're doing well, too. So, yes, people also making fun of Dana White's regional MMA scene and all the things that can be said about that. 4 Ounce says, Ming lost the same guy 3 times. I just can't lean the Chinese regional scene just because of how the matchmaking is. Yeah, it can be a little bit dicey over there. So, all right, now let's take a trip on over to Spotlightville, which is going to be pretty similar to this one. I mean, Alex, you can just shout out and re-mention a guy real quick if you want, but if there's someone outside of Contender Series, who are you thinking this week?
Yeah, so Eternal MMA is actually having an event in Perth. It's a smart thing to do because the matchmakers are going to be in town. There's a lot of good prospects on this card, and I'm definitely going with Justin Van Heerden. I think if he wins, he should definitely be on Contender Series and get turn back around or just sign him straight up. Yeah, he's fun. Obviously, he lost his last fight to a flying triangle in the 3rd round. But other than that, he was just on a
losing in style.
Yeah, exactly. If you're gonna go out in style, So yeah, I'm really looking forward to him. There is Harry Reb fighting for the lightweight championship, I believe. 4-0. He's someone to be on the lookout to. 4-0, 4 finishes, really good. So those are 2 I'm looking at this week.
All right. And real quick, Jen asking, how bad would it have been if they made Jordan Vucinic on DWCS?
Dude, Josh Van and Steve Erceg were supposed to be on the Contender Series last year. It's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, very crazy. Yeah, and then as for me, you guys, we kind of hinted at her earlier, but I'm going Luana Santos this week for the women. Very bright, rising prospect in the flyweight division. 24 years old, on a good roll here to start off her UFC career with 3 straight wins, taking out Juliana Miller, Ultimate Fighter winner. Yay. This is what it is. But then beats Stephanie Egger and Maria Agapova, another prospect at a time who was shining bright, but put her away as she should have. And now gets Casey O'Neill, who big fight for Casey, but a big fight for Luana too. And she's proven to be very dangerous in all areas of her fights. Only has 1 loss on her career, which was to Jenna Bishop, which not a bad one there, by split decision in LFA 2 years ago. So Luana Santos has some good momentum right now. She's looking to be pretty legit. Born in the 2000s, man. Crazy stuff there whenever I see that. But good test in Casey O'Neill as she continues to work her way up the ladder. Could be 4 wins. She's really racked them up pretty quick so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing just how that fight plays out for both ladies. But Luana Santos gets our Spotlightville visitor card this week, if you will. Her residency over here on Sound and Pound. So there you go. And 4 ounces also says, and yet Fumi Nukta can't get on. a lot of questionable decisions. But all right. Well, with that, Alex, we haven't mentioned anything so far about it is a PFL fight week, isn't it? So...
It is a PFL week, but it's also Craig Jones Invitational, which is it's going to be
very
fantastic.
exciting.
I will be on the ground for that. I cannot wait.
It's LA, right? Are you going to be driving?
No, it's in Las Vegas, literally across the town from ADCC.
That's so wild. Same time too, or like this same week?
So CGI is Friday, Saturday, ADC Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, so there will be some overlap.
A little bit, but that Saturday is like their championship. Is ADC opening day. Like, yeah, it's and I mean a lot of the chatter in town is CGI, dude. Like people are way more excited for that. Also, it's weird. ADCC only gave out like 7 credentials to media, so everyone that did not go to ADCC, which you probably want some more coverage over there, they're all going to CGI. So.
Yeah, they're probably not too happy, but so I bring that up because we'll do turf war whenever we can do turf war, Alex. So like you mentioned there, we got the grappling events, which will be fun. But yeah, PFL is actually happening, you guys, over in Hollywood, Florida. I'm just going to say I still give the nod to UFC 305 in this week's turf war, but there are some pretty interesting matchups and names on the card over in PFL, Alex. I mean, Impa and Josh in the main event, which we like both those guys. And we'll see what happens there. Rob Wilkinson against Davljan Yagshimuradov, one of my favorite names to say in the co-main. Brent Primus and Clay Collard. Whenever Clay Collard is fighting, you got to watch, but he might get nullified and out-wrestled in that one. We'll see. Biagio is back. Danny Sabatello is back. Mats Burnell. I mean, they got the lightweights and the light heavyweights, which are always pretty interesting from them. So there's some things to like, but overall, there's just a lot more intrigue for me on the top of that main card with 305. But overall, I guess it might be a little closer than we realized. I don't know. What do you think of the PFL card?
Yeah, so this is my favorite 2 divisions from this season. So I do have a little bit of bias, but even with that being said, like you can't put the UFC and PFL.
Yeah,
it's the UFC pay-per-view. Man, I mean, if they would have went against the Apex last week,
totally wins that one.
They would have won Turf War, but sorry, bro. UFC remains dominant.
Yeah, can't pick and choose like that, guys. I don't know what that was about, why they skipped last week, but yeah, that is what it is. So, all right. Well, before we get to the Dralex Movie Club this week, I'm going to change camera batteries real quick. Alex, I have 20 minutes left on this one, but just to not worry about it, you guys, since I didn't plug in today, I didn't bring my charger. So give me 1 quick second here. Kill the air for me.
One quick second. Yeah, so I'm excited for Dana White's Contender Series. If anybody, whoever's watching, who's like someone that you are really looking forward to watch tonight. I've already said Mansour and Anho, Lover Kavanaugh. Man, it's a great fights. They wanted to make one of the best transitional fights. Yeah, James. He was never going on. Alex, when is Cody still going? I think he's week 4. Let me double check on that.
All right. Yeah, little Cody Steele update there.
Let's see. He is September 10th. That's week 5.
All right. There we have it. But all right, we're all good. That was pretty quick and seamless. Well done, my friend.
What do you think of a Jacinta Austin versus Tina Black fight on the Contender Series?
Ooh, I'm down for it. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Shouts to Tina Black for last week's performance too. Because Invicta did happen also, but still nothing too crazy over there. Yeah, that works for me.
I mean, it's like obviously we'd both like to see them both in UFC, but
yeah,
matchmakers aren't going to do that. So why don't you just match them up and let them go?
You think they could squeeze them on this year, maybe at the end?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. There's still like probably 8 to 10 slots left. I was gonna say splots, but slots left.
Whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd be totally down for that. Yeah, all right. We will see what happens this season. Kicking off tonight, you guys. So stay tuned for that. Do you know? Is Dana there? Is he going to be there tonight? Well, he's got to be, right? He hasn't skipped a Contender Series before, I don't think.
He's here.
So, all right, and then we'll see if he makes a trip on down to Australia right after. That'll be fun for him. But
down under, mate.
Down under. But we are not going down under, but we are going to the Dralex Movie Club this week, you guys, which if you were here last week and remember, we just watched Trap last week, which was a brutal one. But going into this week, we had the option of Borderlands or Cuckoo. We were kind of split between them both, so we were figuring out how to juggle that, and we both wound up with Cuckoo as Alex spoiled himself with some reviews of Borderlands. Thankfully, it's the one time I'm not mad at him for kind of thankfully doing that. Looks like it would have been a big waste of time. So
5% Rotten Tomatoes.
5%. It's like a 4.3 on IMDb. Maybe it's a rough time out there, but we both saw Cuckoo last night. So that is the movie that we will be talking about right now. And Alex, we very briefly touched on this before going on air. So you hated this more than me. Tell me why.
It was just, dude, it was slow. It was like a slow burn. It was like, what the fuck is going on? Like that, I was just like the entire time, just like
that was kind of my biggest problem.
It's just like what's going on. It really doesn't even tell you. Like you have to kind of like put pieces together. The only good thing about this movie was Hunter Schafer. She was good.
Oh, she was amazing.
Yeah. Other than that, like I'm gonna forget about this movie probably by tonight, and I'll never think about it again. And if someone says, "Should I watch that?" I'm gonna say no. Like it just did not hit for me at all. The trailers kind of sold it for like a
great trailer,
wild ride. Yeah, wild ride. I thought it was going to be more bloody, more scary, more whatever. Was not that. It just was very, very slow. Took forever to get going. It's like one of those movies where it's like, what's going on? But it's like not interesting. So yeah, I was pretty let down for this.
Wow. I think it's kind of interesting. You think it was slow. At least it's slow in terms of getting to kind of things, I guess. But I thought it took off pretty quick with like, all right, they're here and that's rolling. And, you're kind of getting to know Gretchen, who I thought was a really good character too. Like you said, Hunter Schafer is easily the best part of this. I thought Dan Stevens honestly a little much. His character was a little bit just, I don't know, it didn't quite work for me. Yeah. And there were also, this is hitting me just now, but like, some things that were completely unexplained at the end, like people disappearing, like unless I missed it, but you might know what I'm referring to. But at the end, there were some key characters that are just like literally gone. And I don't know what happened to them. I thought the first half was really strong, honestly, and I enjoyed it the most. And then it kind of gets really confusing and weird and not not scary. I mean, again, I'm a guy who doesn't get scared by too much. There were some good jump scares, I'll admit. Not that they got me, but there were some brief moments there. But it was just conceptually, uh, I don't know. I don't know what it was. I think that's the problem. Is you don't. There's not much clarity with it, and it's a good setting for a very scary, great, memorable like thriller. You know, there's some total elements, Alex, to The Shining in this, big time, like inspiration from it. But yeah, just it just kind of goes off a cliff in a direction I don't think it knows where it was trying to go. You know, like,
Yeah.
which is super disappointing because, like, yeah, like this was a star-making performance. I didn't know who Hunter Schafer was before this. Maybe I saw in some stuff, but no,
Euphoria,
I'm
baby.
okay. She's a Euphoria girl. I still need to get on that. I need to get on that, but yeah, like
Like
I'm
I
totally
thought this
interested.
was I was expecting something to be like a cure for wellness. You know, like that's kind of like where I
Yeah,
thought we're
yeah.
gonna go with this. Was not that. It was a fucking dollar store. Just like I don't know.
Yeah, this it really bums me out because again, like there's a lot of this movie and like things about it that I like, except it's I think everything except for kind of yeah the ending of the story and what was happening just doesn't make sense. I didn't quite so it gets a little messy. Yeah, it's a hard one to recommend. Like, if I was to, it would be just to see kind of the Gretchen character and that kind of thing. But even then, it just goes in a way that sucks. It kind of sucks, but yeah, it's still better than Trap though. I thought so. It's just like
For
a
sure.
comfortable 5 for me, just because of everything outside of you know
Yeah,
yeah.
I was telling my wife last night. It's like it wasn't okay. Looking at the movie, like it wasn't a bad movie at all. It just
Yeah.
wasn't like great. It's like it's very forgettable. Like it just wasn't memorable whatsoever. Like yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, it's I'm really sad about this one, man, because the trailer was so good, like I'm more sad than I was like annoyed and pissed last week
Telling you,
because
bro, the
I want to like this
art
movie a
of
lot.
the art of the movie trailer is fucking
That's why I hate watching them.
yeah.
That's why I try not to. And since we've been going to the theater these past couple weeks, we're getting totally just fucking
Yeah.
lit up.
Yeah.
But all right, before we do get on to this week, though, you guys, Rio, I will let you know I have seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Great suggestion, though. That's a fucking classic. Yes, I've seen that one. Legendary indeed. Oh yeah, good point. Great. I should start doing this, Cornelius. List the movie you're gonna watch in the description. I forget all the time and won't take part in the segment. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Come
I'll
on,
add that.
Drake. Come on.
I know. I didn't think about it. I put in the article on the website what we're reviewing because I know that we decide during obviously what we will be watching. So yeah, but yeah, this looks like it's going to be the shortest episode for sure. Synchro, thanks to UFC Vegas 95. We can applaud it for that. But all right, let's get into this week, Alex. I know you mentioned Alien Romulus last week, but I'm not caught up. So what should we do? Are there I feel like there was another new release or so, but we don't have to do that. We can break this streak, maybe just to save ourselves with a good one. That would be a good idea. Surefire good one. But what are you feeling? You got anything in mind?
I mean, I was just expecting to do Alien Romulus, especially because like it's part of the franchise that like you don't really have to. You just
Oh,
have to
okay.
have
I
like
mean,
yeah. You just have to like, have to
base
have a
level.
grasp of like what Alien is. Yeah,
Oh, all right.
yeah,
All right. Yeah. And I have much better expectations from Fade. So, and I'm a little scared because it's Fade. So.
yeah. If this movie sucks, I think I'm just like gonna
I give up.
yeah, just fucking lose faith, and god damn, bro,
Yeah.
lose faith until Joker comes out. Like the fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is that the end of the month or is that like October? Am I way
It's
off
like
on that?
October
Okay.
7th or something.
Okay. All right. Birthday month. So, All right, well, let's do it then. Let's go with Alien Romulus, you guys, so you can look forward to that one. There you go, Cornelius. You're here now, so you know what we're doing this week. So hit up the theater with us. But yeah, that will wrap up the Dralex Movie Club. Thankfully, because yeah, I am still sad about it. I was so sad last night. But all right, let's get to your questions now from throughout the show. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Over here, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. What do we got here from Jin earlier? Yeah, the question might be reserved for the end of the show, but after seeing 185 play out these past few months, is 185 officially the weirdest division? Probably. I mean, I was thinking about this week and just how like it's been hot potatoing, Alex. You know, everybody's passing the belt around, and whenever that happens, like it can be a good time. Like we'll never forget the glory days of the golden 205-pound division when it was pretty hot potato as well, and all those legends and Hall of Famers were passing the belt around. But it's not quite the same. I mean, maybe we'll see what happens, but obviously Adesanya, Pereira, legends there. Yeah, it's a pretty weird one. Obviously, the top heavyweight is weird because of what Dana's doing to it. But overall, yeah, there's a lot of weird things with 185, and people coming up right now too, and then some people who are just hanging around that maybe shouldn't be. I don't know. In terms of weirdness, is that accurate, Alex?
Yeah, I was just looking at the rankings. I think it's probably the weirdest one. Like, yeah, for sure. I mean, at least like the other divisions kind of have like a clear, like kind of stepping ladder of like who's next, and then kind of middleweight is getting to the point where it's going to get kind of like stuck in the weight because there's Hamzat if he beats Rob if he beats Hamzat, Sean Strickland right there, Brendan Allen right. It's like it's kind of like a hodgepodge. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. This isn't a question, but a comment from Rio as he says, seems like being a hardcore fan means not saying bad things about the UFC instead of being being educated on the technical nature of the sport. Not so sure about that. I think hardcore fans speak out pretty much when they see problems, but I think I understand what you're saying there. Synchro says, do you think the UFC should have spent more time promoting UFC 305 instead of that Apex card? I mean, they didn't promote it very much, but any little bit would be better. Yeah, so any little bit of time reserved or swapped in a different area, I will say so. Gunther says, I read your article on Michael Chandler, the Morning Report, I think. No, it was a Mania article. I know he mentioned Oliveira, but I'd rather see him against a no-name like Guram Kutateladze as unlikely as that is. Not going to happen, Gunther, but I understand the intrigue in a matchup like that because, yeah, it's one of those lightweight, one of those divisions like bantamweight, obviously the two best, where you could throw in an unranked guy against a top 5 dude and find interesting matchups that way. Like you said right there, Guram has a chance to beat him. You know, like don't know if I'd pick it, but there's certainly those possibilities in the divisions like that. Ramiro Jones says, I was given a lot of unnecessary hate for saying that the UFC has put on great events this year and the rest of the media should be grateful for the best fights we have seen. Have we forgotten 300? Nah, man, that's the only one we remember. That's the only one we remember, dude. Yeah, I don't think it was unnecessary because it hasn't been a good year. So I'm calling you out too. Yeah, no, we definitely have not forgotten 300. Not at all. That's the one thing we do remember. It's objectively not been a good UFC year for fights overall. Like it's progressively gotten worse. I'm very confident in saying that. And I mean, you're also throwing out like the highest of highs. You know, that was an all-time event. So, yeah. James says Steve Erceg is the 40-year-old virgin, so it's hard to see him beating France. Do you remember that meme? Yes, of course. He does look like Steve Carell. There's also the Michael Scott memes. Jimmy says, if you guys were fighters young in your career, should you stay in the regional scene instead of going to Contender Series? Oh, this is a great question, Alex. And man.
Yeah. I was just
really
I was just talking to a fighter last night about what they should do, and it's tough, right? And I think I talked to Chris Curtis about this a whole lot, and Damon Jackson. Like, you know, back in the day, UFC fighters should not look towards the UFC until you have 10 fights. And within those 10 fights, fight for a title, get some knockouts, go 5 rounds, go 3 rounds, get it all, get experience. Because if you're 4-0 going to the UFC, you're basically learning on the job with the best fighters on the planet Earth. And with that, say you get a 12-12 contract, you lose 3 times, you make $36,000, and then you're out of the UFC, and it's hard to get back to the UFC, right? So, it's. But then I see the flip side. Like, why would I want to fight in LFA for $500? Like, and if you want to be an MMA professional MMA fighter and do this as a career, you have to support yourself somehow, right? So that's where having a family that helps, like a white girlfriend, wife helps you, like having another side gig. It's a fucking tough profession to have. And Dana said it all the time. It's not a career, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And more it like comes true. Like I don't know why anybody would want to be a professional cage fighter. It makes no fucking sense. There's no money in it. And you have to grind for years to make that money, right? So, and so I don't know. I would go to the contender series instead of staying on the regional scene if I had a certain amount of fights, and I would definitely go to the contender series over tough, right? So,
yeah,
that's my thoughts on it.
Easily, not even a question. Like, I can't believe people actually still did Ultimate Fighter this year, but shout out to them. Which 4 ounces says delayed start tonight too because of the worst season of Tough, right? The final episode. Is that actually the reason?
Okay. Yeah, the first 2 weeks are delayed.
Wonderful. Yeah, so I mean that is a great question. Very tricky one to navigate. I honestly think, like, I hate to say it, but you got to go that route of trying to be a big, noisy guy who can get opportunities like quick and early, maybe in some obscure shit, like, and then build from there. But it's a tough thing to juggle and, get to without really investing in it. So
yeah, at the end of the day, you need to have the most amount of experience possible before jumping to the UFC, because the contrast is unimaginable. Like, and you're fighting against the best guys on the planet, right? So, and you don't want to be learning on the job on your first contract and you're not safe with the company.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Ramiro Jones says, I don't understand how the MMA media pundits give more care to CJI and ADCC watching. That is worse than heavyweight MMA. Well, opinion. As MMA media yourself, it's very strange. No. Well, I mean, I disagree with you on the heavyweight part for sure. But no, I mean, it depends. It all depends on what you like. And I mean, this is the highest level, literally the highest level of grappling on the planet. So if you enjoy combat sports and you enjoy the grappling aspect in particular, obviously, because that's what it is, then you are undeniably going to be interested in it. If you're not, then yeah, it's not for you. It's separate from MMA. But also we got some crossover. Like Luke's going to be in CJI, isn't he? So I mean, like, there's a little bit of that, which one of those guys, yeah, these people that whenever you see UFC fighters, obviously Luke is not anymore, but Mackenzie Dern, for example, like you said there, some of the one guys like the Rutolos, when everyone can get involved and is allowed to get involved, it is so much more fun. And again, they're pretty damn good too. So it's when you get a sport at its highest level, you all want to tune in. It's the Olympics, Ramiro. It's the Olympics of grappling.
I mean, and with those, what are you supposed to give our care to, right? Like oh yeah, we're gonna break down the entire UFC 305 card. Whoa, fucking whoa.
Whoa. Sorry, no Tuivasa Rosenstruck breakdown here.
Oh yeah, god damn, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking write 5 articles about that, bro. Whoa.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Gunther says he was on the MMA Hour the other day. Why are the fans there not as funny as the ones here? Seems like they are either angry at something or overhyper fighter. Well, because we got the best fans on the planet, Gunther. That's why. Sound and pounders, all day.
Because we don't take ourselves too fucking serious,
That is also
Come
true,
on.
yes.
We don't have a fucking stick up our ass.
So I mean, hey, you're a part of it. You know these answers. You're just fishing right there. uh, also, performance enhancing drugs in MMA. Is it good if peds are in MMA? Because that would be less injuries, and it's okay if they would take them as long as they pass the test. Thoughts and opinion? Is that bad? Ooh, the old ped question, Alex. How do you feel?
Man,
I mean, John Jones is his favorite fighter. so
in that case, I love steroids. Yeah,
as the great Josh Barnett once said, "I eat steroids for breakfast."
yeah, right. Man, PEDs in combat sports, especially fighting and football, I think should be legal on every aspect of the field. But I do like the ones that help you heal faster.
Recovery, yeah.
Recovery, that is a lot of what steroids kind of do. They help recovery. So if you take yourself out of competition in order to recover, I'd be fine with that. But if you're using it to recover faster and get a advantage over your opponent, then no, that's no.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I'm on board with that too, actually. And like, I've been always pretty anti them because rules. I'm a little stickler for rules and stuff. But this is the biggest misconception about steroids. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, with your own experience. But I think the biggest misconception is that people think you just take them and then you get big. You got to work out still. You gotta they help. It's kind of like the cheat code, obviously, and boosting a power up like in a video game or something. You got to do something with it. You don't just get big.
If you just take them and don't do
you'll
anything,
get fat, won't you?
You'll get fat, you'll get tits, and you'll have fucking either roid rage or massive depressive, and which is very bad. So yeah, no, that's some people obviously. People should not know about it if you've never done it, right? So right. Done it, yes. Steroids is not something like you just fucking pop and it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not Popeye's spinach.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's a fucking push and pull type of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's in the name. Performance enhancer. It enhances.
Yes. Yeah, not performance creator. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, a little education there for you guys at the end here. What a great way to wrap up Sound and Pound episode 43 as we get ready for UFC 305 Down Under. Down Under. 700 viewers. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us, MMA Mania on all platforms. Go to the website, subscribe to the newsletter so you can get the articles right in your inbox every single day. Follow us Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever, all that stuff. You can follow me at Dricus _ at Alex Behunin. We already did the shameless plugs for two of Alex's interviews for Anho and Mansoor from Contender Series tonight. I don't have anything at the moment, but we will be Broad Horizon production should be kicking off this week too. Planning to do some interviews there, so look forward to that coming soon, and some other stuff I'm working on as well. But anything else to shameless plug, Alex?
Yeah, so I have a article that's out right now. I listed the best Contender Series fighters to come off every single season. Go check that out. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm correct. Tell me I'm a little bit of both. I will have tidbits this week. I skipped last week because there was nothing to talk about, but there is
Shocker.
There is stuff to talk about this week. I will be at Contender Series tonight, so the scrum will be up on the YouTube channel. And
CGI stuff.
Yeah, and I will be at CGI Friday, Saturday. So hopefully they allow stuff to get.
I imagine Craig should be pretty free flowing.
So just kind of look for that stuff. But I will be at that event, so look out for that.
All right, you guys, there you have it. So with that, we will close up shop. We will be back next Tuesday, same time as always. Appreciate you all so much and enjoy the great versatile weekend of combat sports, you guys. Stay safe and stay sane. Later.